All right, tonight's lesson is topic 9-7, simplifying fractions. Last night we worked on finding the greatest common factor, and we're kind of going to extend that a little bit today, and I hope you're going to understand why that was important after you see today's lesson. So I'm going to start off by showing you a Study Jams video that explains how to simplify fractions. There are a couple of ways I want to show you. And again, this is going to be one of those times where I encourage you to choose the way that works best for you. So let's watch this video together.
Zoe just made a new playlist out of 30 songs. 6 of them are labeled alternative rock. That means 6 out of 30. What is this fraction in simplest form? Let's do it step by step. First step is to divide both the numerator and denominator by a common factor. Remember, if you do it to the top, you gotta do the same thing to the bottom. Since 6 and 30 are both even, you know that they are divisible by 2. Once we divide by 2, that leaves us with 3/15. Continue dividing by common factors until the numerator and denominator have only 1 as a common factor. Both 3 and 15 are divisible by 3, so if we divide the numerator and the denominator by 3, we're left with 1/5. We know this fraction is in simplest form because the only common factor between the numerator and denominator is 1. The simplest form of 6/30ths is 1/5. That means 1/5 of Zoe's playlist is alternative rock. I personally prefer something a bit more mellow, but you know Zoe, she likes to rock out. You can also find simplest form by using the GCF, or greatest common factor. Let's take that problem with Zoe's playlist, 6/30, again. Check it out. First, list the factors of the numerator and denominator. The factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. The factors of 30 are 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 10. Then, identify the greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is 6. Now, divide the numerator and denominator by the GCF. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 30 divided by 6 is 5. That makes 1/5. Either way you do it, the fraction of Zoe's playlist that is alternative rock is 1/5 in simplest form.
All right, so let's go ahead and look at some examples that I have for us. This is a stained glass window, and on the stained glass window you can see there are 20 different window panes. Out of the 20 sections, 12 are yellow, so 12/20ths of the panes are yellow. But if you also look, if we were to divide this into yellow and green actual panes, you could see that 3 out of 5 are yellow. So that all they've done here is they have simplified 12/20ths down into 3/5. Now I wrote these terms on the bottom of this page to remind myself, to remind you, that on a test or in class or any time we're talking about fractions and wanting them to be as low as they can possibly be, you're going to hear any of these terms. It may say put them in simplest form. It may say put them in lowest terms. It may simply say simplify, or it may say reduce the fraction. So I want you to be familiar with all these terms and know that they all pretty much mean the same thing. And that same thing is, a fraction is in simplest form when its numerator and denominator have no common factor other than 1. So our goal is to get the fraction down to a fraction where the numerator and the denominator only have 1 as a common factor. So what we're going to do here is let's just look at this number 12/20ths. And because 12 and 20 are both even, it's obvious to me that they're both divisible by 2. So I'm just going to start off by dividing them both by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 20 divided by 2 is 10. I look at 6/10 and I know that those are also even numbers. So I know that they're both going to be divisible by 2 as well. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 10 divided by 2 is 5. When I look at 3 and 5, I know I am now in lowest terms or simplest form because there's nothing else that go into 3 and 5 except for the number 1. Now, let's take 12/20ths and look at it in a different way. If you are really good with your math facts, you're going to look at these numbers and you're going to know immediately that they are both divisible by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So this is a quicker way to get to the answer. And basically what I did was I used their GCF, or their greatest common factor. But I wanted to show you that it's okay either way as long as you keep going until you are down in lowest terms. Now, I want to show you how easy it is to use the GCF. And I'm going to leave it up to you as to how you do this. Let's say there are 36 students in the 5th grade class. 27 will go to the mathematics competition. What is the simplest form of the fraction of the class going to the competition? Okay, so we know that there are 27 going out of 36. And it asks us to put that in simplest form. So I'm going to divide both of these by 9 because I know when I look at both of those numbers that they're both divisible by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3. 36 divided by 9 is 4. I know that there's nothing that goes into 3 and into 4 other than 1. So 27/36 in simplest form or lowest terms is 3/4. Now, that was simply using what I know. What I want to show you is how to use the GCF to do this. So again, my fraction was 27/36. So I'm going to make a factor tree for each of these numbers so that I can get their GCF. Okay, 27 I know is 3 times 9. 3 is prime. 9 is 3 times 3. Those are prime. So my prime factors for 27 are 3, 3, 3. Okay. 36 is, I'm going to do 3 times 12 because I like to start off with the number that I know is prime to make my job a little easier. Whoops, don't know what happened there. Let's do 2 times 6 for 12. Because that gets me another prime number. And then 6 would be 2 times 3. Alright, so my prime factors for 36 are, remember we're going to put them in numerical order, 2, 2, 3, 3. Now remember, when you're finding greatest common factor, you are circling factor pairs that match. So I have 2 sets of 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. That tells me that 9 is the greatest common factor, which I knew because I know my facts well. But that is a way to do simplest form and only have to do one operation. If you find the greatest common factor before you start dividing it out, you're only going to have to do one operation. It's okay either way. I want you to realize that it's okay as long as you know to keep going until you have gotten it as low as it can possibly go. Okay, so here I'm going to look here at these numbers, 16/32. Those are both even. I'm going to start dividing them both by 2. So 16 divided by 2, 32 divided by 2. That would be 8/16. Now, when I look at 8/16, if the numerator goes into the denominator, that is definitely the factor you should use. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 16 divided by 8 is 2. So 16/32 is the same as 1/2. 10/14, both even. So I'm going to start with 2. If I don't know a better, larger number that I can start with, 10 divided by 2 is 5. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 5/7, I know there's nothing else that goes into those numbers other than 1. 10/15. These are both multiples of 5, so I'm obviously going to do 5s. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. There is nothing that goes into 2 and 3 other than 1. Now this one hopefully gets your mind thinking. These are what I like to call doubles. And I know that 11 has to go into those. 33 divided by 11 is 3. 77 divided by 11 is 7. There is nothing that goes into 3 and 7. 16 twentieths, they're both even. Great place to start is 2. If you know your facts well, you're probably going to want to start with 4. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Another even numbers. Let's go by 2 again. Whoops. I'm thinking ahead of my writing there. All right, 8 divided by 2 and 10 divided by 2. So you have 4/5. There's nothing that goes into 4 and 5 other than 1. And then 30/40ths, I know those are both multiples of 10. Divide them both by 10, and I'm going to get 3/4. And there's nothing that goes into 3 and 4. So if you take a look at all these simplified fractions on this page, they're pretty low numbers. Your goal is to make sure that nothing else goes into both the numerator and the denominator other than 1. And if you're there, then you are in simplest form. Okay? So, on your notes page today, part 1, if you'll just simply simplify this fraction. I would like for you to show me as you do this on your notes page. Show me what you are dividing by. And if you have to divide 2 times, 3 times, whatever, show me that you know that process. Same thing on part 2. Notice I used a different direction. Reduce to lowest terms. This was simplify the fraction. They mean the same thing. Here again, show me what you used to get to lowest terms. And the last part we haven't done in a while, but I'd like for you to use your words and explain to me how knowing that GCF for 2 numbers can help you simplify quickly. Think about what we talked about when we went back and we did factor trees and we got the GCF for the 2 numbers in the fraction and how quickly we were able to get a final answer. So just explain to me how when you know the GCF, your fraction becomes simplified way quicker. If you need to go back and look through the video, please do. Simplifying fractions is something I know that's not new to you, but it's something that's real important as you move on into fractions and understanding different parts of the whole. I'll see you tomorrow in class. Have a good evening.